Okay, rulers, settle down. Ruler School is brought to you by Odyssey Games, where you can go to get pre-orders of all the upcoming Force of Will sets, as well as releases of previous sets after they come out. ccgprime.com, with over 100,000 Force of Will singles, as well as out-of-print boxes from the past, and TCG accessories, as well as fowllibrary.com, a wonderful resource for deck lists, article discussions, and more. Check them out at fowllibrary.com, as well as these amazing patrons. Special thanks to guest lecturer patrons Shukong Fu, Vite Ramen, and Maxime Van He. Thank you for your support. Class is in session. Hey there, rulers. Welcome back after a long week of Force of Will to your favorite ever live Force of Will vodcast. It's Office Hours, and I am DMO73, as always joined by the wonderful Mike Grants.
What up?
And the beautiful Paul Reisman.
What down?
Interesting choice. I'm gonna do this one thing real quick, just to make this look. Okay, there we go. That just looks visually. Today, we are going to talk about all kinds of cool stuff. Specifically, the fact that unexpected for most of us this week was the spoilers for Hero Cluster starting. Did not expect them this early, so we have a lot to talk about there. Before we do, though, I do want to show, just in case you haven't already seen it, we did put together a little thing to talk about Fowl Fest in 2020 or 2022, Fowl Fest 2022, that we're very excited about. I just gotta find this here so I can share with you. It's November 5th and 6th at the Radisson Hotel in Kalamazoo, Michigan, but I did just want to show off this here right now. The pricing info, just as, again, a little showcase. Just for entering, there's 3 different tiers of entry, $45, $60, and $100. $45, you get the a playmat for participation, 10 promos, and a bunch of other fun swag stuff, as well as any surprises we throw your way. At $60, you get everything from the 45, as well as a random textless dual stone. And at $100, you get all of that, plus a random top 8 gold Uber ruler, just for showing up. Plus, we got custom Fowl Fest playmats to give away, and for prizing, acrylic and metal prize cards down through top 16, judge promos and Ubers down through top 64, a grand of cash thanks to Vite Ramen, and all kinds of other fun stuff going on. This is a partnership with Vite Ramen, Inked Gaming, who's making the playmats, CCG Prime, and Odyssey Games. So we really, really, really hope you can make it to that. There's a link in the description below to get plugged into that, as well as to go to Odyssey's website to be able to register. So, Hero Cluster, contracts. Let's get started. So, one thing to note here, we're going to look at the first starter deck ruler, which is Aristella. Partner 1, Moonchild, is the mechanic that lets them partner with Moonchildren rulers. And then Homeland Cocoon. At the beginning of the game, you may reveal a Cocoon edition you own from outside the game and put it into the field. We don't know what any of those Cocoon editions do right now, but that will come sometime. And then this card also has
into a beautiful butterfly.
This card has Aristella Prince, Twin Prince, in addition to its other names. That's so that it works with the contracts. Just keeping in mind that the other starter deck ruler is Asuka. She's the green-black one. Just going to pull her up real quick just to show off. She has the same kind of thing. Partner 1, Moonchild, Homeland, Cocoon. She counts as Asuka, the Gravekeeper. So that is different than the Aristella of the main set. Aristella, the Twin Prince. The only difference being that he has partner 2 instead of partner 1, and that is the same for all of the other main set rulers, just the partner 2 versus partner 1. So I just kind of wanted to talk about that real quick, because I do know that there has been some maybe frustrations or concerns about the fact that it is a different, just straight weaker ruler in the starter deck than it is in the main set. And I just I don't care that it's weaker. Personally, I don't know. I'd be curious to hear your guys' feedback, but in my mind, like, I would feel more comfortable and less concerned handing a new player a starter deck that only has to deal with partner 1 as a mechanic than trying to explain to them partner 2 when they're first starting. Thoughts?
Yeah, I don't see any issues with them having a weaker version in the starter deck. The starter deck is literally meant to be a starter deck. Like, you're getting it for the unique cards, not getting it for the ruler. You're picking up the set for the ruler because the set's gonna have cards you need already. It's just like, it's like a moot point to have that. Like, just, you get more rulers to add to your collection. They literally did exactly this, but worse in Raya Cluster. This is nothing new.
Yeah, that's true. This is just like
Like-
straight work, like better than Raya Cluster, because at least we don't
Yeah.
have moon runes.
Also, New Valhalla as well. Like, your ruler abilities were literally the runes available. As we got more runes, we got more abilities added on later on. It's like if you're not going to play this one, play the other Aristella. If you're just starting up the game and you want to play a card, you get one less Moonchild. Ooh, wow. Crazy. You still get the same J ruler side because you have contracts, and we'll get to that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, with that quick kind of spiel out of the way, Paul has no other thoughts about that, which is totally fine.
I love it when Paul has no thoughts.
We're gonna jump into our first spoiled card from the starter deck, which is the Marine of the 12 Sacred Knights. 1 blue, 2 colorless human, quick cast, 6/6. Quick cast, you may pay 2 less if you played a Godsart this turn. Enter if this card was played with will produced by a moon protection ruler or entity. So that would be you're using the filters from the Moon Children, which we'll get into in a second. You may cancel target activate or automatic ability of a Resonator. Blue gets ability cancels again. Yeah!
Moon Children.
Wow. That's crazy.
With Moon Children. That's
With-
it.
Yeah. Blue gets ability cancels with Moon Children.
I love when my
And not Beatrice.
whatever, yeah.
And not Beatrice. No. No. We don't talk about it.
No love.
Card's fine. I mean, the fact that it can cost 1 and be a 6/6 body, like, this is a starter deck card. It's in the
will
starter
say-
deck. It makes sense.
I will say the fact that it does say Moon Protection Ruler or Entity has me a little curious, just considering maybe there'll be a Resonator or an addition that's a Moon Protection
Yeah.
entity that'll be able to produce the will for this, so you're not locked into playing the Moon Children for it.
Can we talk about how almost every Resonator is quick cast so far? Well,
Yeah,
considering
the
how
one with
we've
the Force of
seen,
Will.
one Resonator, I think maybe 2, and none of the contracts are quick cast except for specifically Eins, who we'll get to at the end.
We can also talk about how literally like every card that's been relevant in Force of Will over the past like 3 years. Like, this isn't anything new.
Patrick, sorry, Patrick, this doesn't do anything in Olivia. If you Godsart get Dolly, produce 1 blue.
No. But Jeremy, the play. You get the Dolly out of the deck, and you drop in the Alice from AO1 starter deck, the one that can change races. You change Dolly to a Moon Protection,
Okay.
and then the will that comes off of it can then be
Okay.
used for Marine.
So this is 5 will that we're talking about.
Yeah, it's 5 will Laura and something.
Okay, great. Yeah, you're great,
I
great.
think-
That makes
I
sense.
think what they're trying to say
Correct.
is it's Moon Protection Ruler or Moon Protection Entity.
Yes, for sure. Moon
Yes.
protection
It is not
ruler or
a
entity.
Moon Protection Ruler or just an entity.
Yeah, yeah. It specifically has to be a moon protection ruler. Yeah, or
Well, just
entity.
remember, blue needs 5 mana to do what Lorite does.
Yeah. Next up we have next up is the Birth of the Twin
Nice.
Princes. So it's 1 white quick cast chant, choose 1, 4C2, then draw a card, or target J/Resonator you control gains +4/+4 and barrier until end of turn, and another up to 1 other target J/Resonator you control gains +4/+4 and precision until end of turn. And then this brings up the concept of mastery, which is this idea of an alternative way to pay for something by resting the corresponding entity rather than paying the cost. So this is specifically Mastery Aristella. You can rest a recovered card named Aristella Twin Prince you control rather than play this card's cost. So as a concept, so this actually card has, I want to talk about it for 3 reasons. 1, it's a really good indicator of the fact that keywords are now bolded. So they stand out really, really well. Secondly, this is as a card, it's pretty neat. It's not insane, but it's pretty neat. And the concept of mastery works really, really well because of the fact that you'll have 1 or 2 rulers. So you will still have this like Callstone with a Moonchild be able to use things like mastery. So you got to start thinking about cards in that context too. So when you consider that, like, is this proactive? No. But is it the fact that I can give something protection and give something else precision and kind of go in? Like, I like that a lot. It's a neat card. Again, wonderful starter deck card.
Good will sync.
Yeah, for sure.
I
Or
want to try and make
tap
something
sync.
happen with, I want to make something happen with like Dr. Mermaid in this card because you can force you to find another Birth of the Twin Princes, draw a card, recover the Aristella, do it again.
Dr. Mermaid!
Dr. Mermaid!
Dr. Mermaid!
I
We're
love
back.
this thing of garbage.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely something you can
Just
do.
love that Dr. Mermaid lives rent free in your head.
Dr. Mermaid always lives rent free in my head, dude. I played flute for a long time.
Dr. Mermaid. I like it a lot.
Oh my God.
Okay, so let's go to Asuka's starter deck card. Yeah, I just think there's not. Oh no, you know what?
Flash from behind, I think.
While we're here, we're gonna go ahead and jump over to the Water Moonchild and the contract, and then we'll go into the Asuka stuff because we know that the contract is also gonna be in the starter deck. So this is the first example of a Moonchild, child of the Water Moon. Bond, you can rest a recovered stone you control to produce white or blue. Play this ability only once per turn. And God's Art, Protection of the Water Moon, 1 blue. Return a non-magic stone, non-Jade Ruler entity you control to its owner's hand. So protect yourself for something.
Tell me you designed the set without knowing you're going to switch over to Wanderer. With that, tell me you designed the set without knowing you were going to switch over to Wanderer. I'll give you a hint. It's in this card's produces mana of either color before knowing we had the dual stones coming back.
Oh no, I think that this language, I think that this language is nice because it means that like you don't necessarily have to play special magic stones in order to be able to get your colors. If we do have some things in, I mean, it's not super common, but Charlie actually talked about this in his video of like, this is really great for like, say you're playing a green, blue, white deck and you're like base blue, but you like also have like a good chunk of like white cards and you could be like, well, I'll play 4 green, blue, 4 blue, white. What if your turn 1 play, like the only option you have in your hand is a white and you hit a green blue stone? Like this says you can still play the game on 1. So it is a way to even further get rid of Force of Will's mana screw. But I'm also really glad that they updated the language to not be absolutely abusable with heart-to-heart talk. But the nice thing about it too is the fact that like if you're building your stone base right, some people when they saw this were like, "Oh, Drywing's just gonna screw these rulers over." It's really not, as long as you control your, as long as you build your stone base right. It's really just like a quality of life element. It's not really like a necessary advantage because if you build your stone base right in an era of Ataroctia's Memoria, Moonshade, dual stones, then like that first ability isn't going to be super necessary, at least for the competitive level. But it is a nice little thing to have, especially for newer players.
This makes me feel really good about. This makes me feel a lot less guilty about not putting Moonshade into my 3-color deck.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Like, definitely gives you it so that you don't necessarily have to play Moonshade if you want to play a 3-color deck. But I think these are, again, well designed. And, like, going into a starter deck, like, think about it this way, too. If you're playing the starter deck and the 10 magic stones that they give you are 5 water and 5 light, and you have this, it just means that, like, as you're playing a starter deck and you're giving it a shot, you're always going to be able to play a card on curve, which is, again, a really nice introductory experience.
Starter deck, Jeremy.
This is one of the. This is the version that's in the set, I think. But
there is one that's in the starter deck, though.
Yeah, it has to come with the starter. It has to come with the Moonchild. Otherwise, you just have Aristella. It comes with one. It comes with one. Yes.
Okay.
So. Yeah, Paul, you've been very, very quiet as we talk about your favorite color in Force of Will.
Yeah, this is the least interesting child, unfortunately.
It's fair.
I mean, it's there to save your thing from getting killed, which is fine, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is very water, but it's also like I neg my own momentum to neg you wanting card advantage, which
Could
feels
just give
bad.
something barrier.
Yeah.
Give a barrier.
Nah, we just gotta reuse those enter effects, bro.
It would be a blue spoiler if
I mean, it does get you to
overwhelming.
I mean, especially with the Marine, you can like recast it, right?
Yeah.
Because like you gods are to put it back in your hand, then you're casting it for 1 again,
Yeah.
which
There's
is nice. It's
yeah.
a nice little combo piece,
Yeah.
but it's not that amazing.
So let's talk about our first contract. It's ironically the only one of the contracts that has the word contract in it in the title. Contract of the Water Moon, 1 blue, 1 white. Return non-quick cast. You will notice that all of the contracts except for Eins's contract are not quick cast. So we're taking Judgment back to being sorcery speed.
Maybe.
I'm here for it.
Unless you're
Eins, but like he has other hurdles to get through in order to justify the fact that it has quick cast. Like it's fair that he gets it. Return target non-magic stone, non-J-ruler entity to its owner's hand. Draw a card. If you played a God's Art this turn, you may contract this card with Aristella Twin Prince. So the way that contracts work is the fact that when you resolve the spell, so first off, you have to resolve the spell. Secondly, when you do resolve the spell, you successfully contract it and then choose to contract it, you will then take your contract out of the sleeve, flip it around, put it back in the sleeve, and put it into the field, and take your ruler and go, whoop, flip it face down. So you no longer have a ruler, you now have a J-ruler from the contract, which is, in this case, the King of Fairy Tales. Fairy Tale King. So he's an 8/8 Fairy Tale Spirit. Enter, you may search your deck for a Fairy Tale Resonator, reveal it, and add it to your hand. If you do, shuffle your deck. Fairy Tale Resonators you control gain +4/+4. So, Fairy Tale Tribal, coming back. I'm here for it. There's a lot of good fairy tales. Nothing to shake a stick at. It's a good introduction to what contracts are.
Yeah. It's middling.
Yeah, it's very
Card-
middling.
Cute.
this card bad. I'm not even gonna lie, dude. I'm not returning a thing to my hand to play this card.
But it's not something you controlled. Don't forget you get to use 2 God's Art. You could have 2.
I know you can play a good
Yeah.
bond ruler if you so choose, but
You
I'm
get Judgment twice.
I'm electing to
copies.
not.
Yeah, for sure.
I
imagine that
this-
I imagine that we will see and hear me out.
Okay.
So there are 7 contracts in this set. I would say arguably of the 5 normal rare, which is what all of the 5 colored rulers contracts are. Fairy Tale King is the weakest by far. But and also the most restrictive in the times you could do it because it's based on God's Arts, unless he has a way to recharge God's Arts, which he might. Blue's been able to recharge. Blue's had God's Art recharged before, so like that's not uncommon. There's also, if you look at the card set breakdown, there's 1 super rare contract, which we already know is Eins. We've seen it today. There's also 1 Marvel rare contract, which I imagine is the other mech, and I imagine will also be specific. It might not be generic, like it might also be for Aristella, and so he gets the weakest common, but then he also gets the Marvel contract that maybe isn't so restrictive. That is 100% speculative, just going off the fact of the strength of this contract versus the other ones, but it's a thought.
I don't know. Jeremy's speculating.
It 100% actually is just me speculating. I have seen
Okay.
nothing of this set. I have seen nothing of this
not
set.
Speculate.
It's
Let's not speculate. And talk about how you can buy back your J ruler now because of spinning Aqua Soul.
That's
because
true.
of Elixir's love. These can just be bought back. So yes, Patrick, yes, they are cancelable, but you get 4 of them, plus you can buy them back.
Yes.
So
And spinning Aqua Soul
pretty
is in
good.
Blue's color. Don't hate
Oh,
that.
look at that.
And you can horn a Sacred Beast in the back into the deck because we're in Wanderer, baby.
Yeah, Wanderer. Let's go. Okay. So with that, let's go to Asuka. Her stuff that was introduced in the starter deck. We have the Soul Spirit. Oh, this is a Resonator. So it's a 3-cost 8/8. It can pay 2 less to play this card if there are 7 or more cards in your graveyard. Asuka is very much looking at count of cards in graveyard. That's kind of her whole mechanic. Enter, prevent all damage that would be dealt by target J/Resonator your opponent controls until end of turn. When this card is put into the graveyard from the field, draw a card. This card is a black protection card. It is a stall card for a control stall graveyard deck. And I'm absolutely fine with it. You can't use it. You can't abuse it super. You can't abuse it super early. It lets you kind of help you get to the late game, or kind of once you get there, keeps you more alive.
Careful, it's got quick cast. Ooh.
It costs 3. Costs 3.
No, it costs 2. You're playing harvesting season. Come on now.
Which also costs 2. So like, I'm okay with that.
It costs 1 if you're playing.
If I'm playing this card in Loki so that I can play harvesting season this, I'm like actively trying to kneecap myself.
Correct.
Because that deck has better tools than this. Again, this is a wonderful starter deck card. It's designed for the starter deck. It introduces you to the mechanic of her. It's a great little card that feels good to cast in a starter deck environment and might see some splashability and outside of it.
Can't wait for some more good self-mill.
We've got some. Because also, don't forget, she can play like all of the Athenia stuff because none of her stuff is being restricted by heroes. So none of her stuff's being restricted by villains, so you can just play Tails. And then her other card is a Flash from Behind, 1 black, quick cast. Target J/Resonator gains -7/7 until end of turn. If this card was played with Mastery, it gets -20/20 until end of turn, and you draw a card. So it's 1-drop -7/7 or Mastery 20/20 draw a card. And the Mastery is Hero. So not only is there very clearly going to be hero cards for Asuka, but also that Sword Faria support.
Good retroactive way to support older archetypes.
Yeah, the concept of Mastery, the concept of Mastery being a way to give older rulers more like will efficient removal or more like up to this age removal is a very I like it a lot. I
didn't read the part about drawing cards. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's pretty great. We're gonna jump
Really
ahead.
good.
Yeah,
No wonder they combo ban Shining Heart. Clearly, Hero Faria is broken.
it's more like for me. It's more like I'm glad that we've seen this so early since Shining Heart is banned, because I'm already like, oh, okay, there might still be some absolute fun stuff to do with Sword Faria. Like I'm already thinking about like.
Oops.
I mean, you do very much. You just don't have the turn to kill win condition. Combat tricks are still a thing, especially when you're looking at this card. So then we have her Moonchild, which is Child of the Darkness Moon. Bond, green or black, as usual. And the God's Art is destroy target J/Resonator. So once per game, if you have black, poof, shoot something.
Imagine looking at this next to Child of the Water Moon and just yes.
Yeah, for sure.
This was designed by the same team that designed this card.
Yeah, for sure. Child of the Darkness Moon is.
Oh my god! If somebody Child of the Darkness Moons your card, you can Child of the Water Moon it right back to your hand. You remove it for them.
How crazy for sure, and then you can recast it.
That is a legal move you can make.
I definitely can make that move.
Yeah, for sure. Child of the Darkness Moon is just like, once per game, I have a removal spell. I'm like, okay.
The words of Paul Christopher, bad boy.
Booga!
Yeah, boy.
And then her contract, let's go into that real quick.
We're jumping around all over the place, Jimmy.
We are jumping around a lot of these because I'm kind of going like from the starter deck, and then we're gonna go back
I know
around.
You are. I just wish that they had spoiled them in the right.
Yeah, I know. So we have Knight of the Legendary Vampire, 1 green, 1 black. Put the top X cards of your deck into the graveyard. Destroy any number of non-Magic Stone, non-Cocoon entities that with a combined total cost of X or less, where X is the total number of Magic Stones you control. If there are 7 or more cards in your graveyard, you may contract this with Asuka. Huh. So
It's back.
So Athena just got a card.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you have Magic Stones, yeah, for sure. I do like the fact that it is tied to Magic Stones and not number of cards in the graveyard, because it's nice to, like, again, this feels like a control mid to late game card, or, like, wants you to kind of push in your early game as being ramp stones, that kind of stuff. Cough, cough, looking at you, Phantasmal Ascendant, cough, cough. He back! Look at that! Never left.
This is why Magic Stone Dance of Chaos is banned.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yes. Jeez Louise. Well, I mean, it's not banned, but it's significantly worse.
Wait.
Magic Stone Dance of Chaos
No,
is just
the other
combo
one is-
banned with Isis.
Yeah, Manifestation of Power.
Manifestation
Thank you.
is banned.
That's the one. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's like now
I
Athenia
don't know
can
anything, dude.
Bird.
I don't know what's combo banned anymore. I don't know what's regular banned anymore. I just know that I want to play cards and then.
If only there were a Facebook page where there were like expertly curated graphics to tell you what has been combo banned.
Yeah, we have
I
that.
wish there was, man.
So let's talk about
I do too.
Let's talk about the ruler. The J ruler. This is End of Night 7/10 Flying Vampire. Enter, choose any number of target J/resonators with a combined total cost of X or less from all graveyards, where X is the number of Magic Stones you control, and specifically says play them without paying their cost. So you cast them. So you're putting them on the chase. And it does say target. So this is, I think saying play them is super duper relevant, because it does mean that, like, it gives your opponent more ways to interact and disrupt you reanimating shit. Because we're very, very used to, does this resolve? Okay, I have a thing on field. This is, does this resolve? Okay, now I'm going to try to put these things onto the field. And I like that. I like that a lot.
I think it's just
points of
lower at the
cancel.
cost. But
I mean, that too. But like giving more of a time, like Reanimate and Force at Will has historically been like absolutely abusable and like narrowly interactable. Like,
correct.
we had entire formats where it was just like, cool, you're playing 4 of this card because it's the only graveyard interaction we have in this format, and you need to be able to stop it. This, doing a sequence like this is cool. The options to be able to interact with the graveyard removal or the reanimate stuff is significantly wider, which I think is overall a healthier environment because it makes it so it's not so niche to have to answer. So I actually really like the way this is worded. It's very cool. It's very cool.
It's much more balanced. You have 2 points of canceling, right? You can either cancel Knight of the Legendary Vampire, so you don't get the J ruler.
Yeah.
Or you give them the J ruler and you just Lorite or Featsing the effect.
Quick question for anybody who might know or does not know yet. Can you contract with a rested ruler?
As far as we know, yes. But also waiting on the CR, because that could be wrong.
I think this card's relevance is entirely dependent on that.
Yes, for
Because
sure.
it requires you to have a certain amount of Magic Stones to make it happen. We haven't seen any green ramp yet.
Well, also got to remember that like your contract, your Moon Children can also tap for stone, as far as we know.
Right, we have ultimate tag. Gotcha. Yeah, forgot
Yeah,
about that.
ultimate tag
Okay.
with tag rulers that don't really do anything. Yeah.
Web of Light, yay!
Yeah, all the duets. Oh my gosh, the duets.
Duets are gonna be so good.
They're so
You
good.
got your promos.
Glad I already have my promos. Okay, so that's our green black stuff. Overall, very exciting, very cool stuff. I do like the reapproach to the design of reanimate stuff, which is nice. The rulers are very easy to talk about because they don't do anything on their front side.
Correct.
So although it is interesting to note here that the wording for all of the different rulers just says Homeland Cocoon. So there is actually some like, and it's a trigger at the beginning of the game. So actually, if there's a bunch of different cocoons, this actually is a very interesting point of like play different cocoons, because based on what you pair up with, you might want a different one. It's not like Mika will always get this. It's just like, no, they get any of the cocoons, so you have to kind of have that selection, which is
You can get the Scrumbo cocoon or the Dungo cocoon. Or
exactly. You
Things
can get the cocoon that makes the most
do
sense for the matchup that you're playing into, which I think is very cool. I think that's a very cool kind of flexibility to make up for the fact that honestly, the front sides of these rulers, even when combined with Moon Children, are tame as hell. Like
They don't do.
they are very tame. They are very tame. Even when combined with Moon Children, they are very, very tame. So having that little added like beginning of game flexibility, I think, is a very cool way to kind of support their tameness and make them feel more impactful at the start of the game, which is nice.
I feel like they learned their lesson.
Hey-oh! Yeah, if you told me like it's tag with 3, but the tags don't do anything, okay, I'll go back to tag with 2, where the tags do stuff.
Well.
Woo!
I'll go back to tag with 2, where I have 3 mulligans and 6 cards in hand.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks.
And then we have Child of the Light Moon. It is red-white for filtering, and then the God's Art is you gain barrier until end of turn. Your opponent may only play 1 spell this turn.
Ooh.
So a God's Art pseudo silence. It's very nice.
No, Jeremy, silence is banned in Wander. You gotta say Dance of Spirits. That one's legal.
Sorry, Dance of Spirits.
Thank you.
Or Atomic Turbulence, but Atomic Turbulence is a whole
That's
different
not
ballgame.
legal.
So
Combo band.
it's combo band with Violet. I like this card a lot. I think the ability, because she's very clearly a mid-range ruler when you look at Messiah, which we'll get into in a second. Having a mid-range aggression ruler kind of have a built-in, like, I have a way to potentially push lethal off of this. It's not completely uninteractable, and it is like free kind of thing, is like a nice tool that I think she will need. And also, like, your opponent can just do it back to you too, which is another weird thing. It also doesn't stop abilities, which is a huge piece of it. Like, I have a feeling that we're gonna get into a world with this next cluster. I mean, we're already kind of seeing it with this cluster, but I think we'll see it even more with this next cluster of, like, abilities being more relevant. Like, we've slowly started to come back into, like, enter effects from resonators mattering more, activate abilities mattering more, like Necronomicon barrier is finding its way back into lists more, you know, that kind of stuff. So it's cool that it exists. I like that it's once per game, and you can kind of prep around it, and it's a cool tool to give to mid-range decks.
Yeah. I don't know what relevant effects target players, but it's nice to have.
Yeah, for sure. Paul?
It's good.
It's also
Is it
beautiful.
as
You're
good
here
as
first, folks.
It's good.
It's also
Is it
just
as good as
beautiful.
Child of the Darkness Moon? I don't know. It's got like anti-burn vibes to me.
Very much.
Um,
Anti-combo
but
vibes.
you're probably just playing this God's Art to make them, you know, stop playing additional spells that turn. It's really good. It's probably really good against Justice, right? So
Yes.
there's that. There's the counterplay.
Yes. Very good. Okay, so next up we have her contract. So this is Decree of Absolution. 1 white, 1 red. Put 2 4/4 light human resonator tokens into the field. Draw a card. If a J resonator you control and a J resonator your opponent control were destroyed this turn, you may contract this card with Mika. This is very Joan d'Arc vibes.
Mm-hmm.
trying to kill my own stuff and kill yours at the same time, which
Martyr syndrome, baby. Let's
which
go.
like I'm here for it. Like that used to be a whole kind of mechanic, and it was actually pretty cool to explore. The fact that it specifically says destroy is very, very relevant because banish is not destroyed. So I'm very interested to see what's going to come out of that. Suddenly, like Inquisition is a like. Does Inquisition suddenly come back as a card?
Let's
Like,
go, boys.
like there's some really cool stuff. Like this is cool. It is difficult to contract her, for sure, because you have to like figure out what you're doing and like play it out. But you'll see why I think that's kind of relevant when she flips. That I'm glad that she has a restrictive, a more restrictive contract. So Messiah, 10/10 precision flying. Enter, target up to X J resonators, where X is the number of magic stones you control. Rest those your opponent controls, and those you control gain +2/+2 in swiftness.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Just go in.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Just go in.
Yeah, it's a card for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. This is a very good card, especially since it means that like it doesn't recover your own stuff, but like just giving you like the tokens that you just generated can suddenly become 6/6s with swiftness, and Messiah can be up 12/12 with swiftness, and you're just like, here's 24 damage. I'm like, oh, okay. This is a cool card. Like the thing about the contracts, as much as like it feels like we're not talking about them super much, they're spells. Like they're very much spells that just also put a body on field. So like thinking about them in the context is a little bit difficult, because we need to see a lot more, I think, of the support for these rulers to be able to really flush out our thoughts about the contract. Contract as a whole feels like a very fair and balanced mechanic. Like it doesn't feel super oppressive. It doesn't feel like you can really like abuse it, especially because they all have
trademark.
They all have, you know, none of them have quick cast. They all have like restrictions to them. You can't just like pop them off immediately. Like there's, you know, those kinds of things. Everything about this feels like very, very different from old school Fowl, but also like not hyper speed. Like design wise, these all feel like that. They said they're talking about trying to curve down like how much cards do. And as you look at the rulers, the J rulers, the chants, I feel that.
Good thing
I feel that, right? Exactly. Like I feel like this is what the card does. Like very few of these cards have quote unquote flexibility. Like the first card that we saw that had flexibility was the twin thing, because it had multiple modes. Everything else feels like this is what this card is doing, and that's it. Which is refreshing, honestly, very refreshing. So I like it a lot. Fair and balanced gameplay doesn't sell cards though. Solid fundamentals sell card games. And keep players engaged in card games. So we'll see. Let's talk about Vega. So red black. Nothing really to talk about the ruler side other than he's a butler. Let's talk about his Fire Moonchild.
He's not a butler, he's a human.
Sorry, he's a human.
Come on, Jeremy. Just right.
So Child of the Fire Moon, Fire Black, obviously. Protection of the Fire Moon. Target spell or ability cannot be canceled or returned to its owner's hand until end of turn. You gave the red deck a way to try to push past a cancel spell, which, thank you.
This is me. I'm split second now. I'm Flame of the Outer World now.
But it's also not, because like you still give your opponent a form of interaction, but like it essentially makes your opponent, it essentially says to your opponent, like, I want this spell to resolve. You're going to have to burn 2 cancels to stop it from resolving if you want to get it to stop. Which, giving the red deck the way to push through and burn that much resources out of a green deck or a cancel deck is very nice. I like that concept. It's something Red's never really had before, and it's something that honestly Red's kind of been missing to like give red a tool that's not just herder. I'm gonna cast a million things in a turn instead of, to try to kill you now. Like this gives like aggressive red decks a way to push in that's not glass cannon kill you, which I like. It can still be Fiola'd. Yeah, technically.
Feel best.
Wait, does this say targeted? Wait, no, hold on.
Target spell or ability cannot be canceled.
Cannot be canceled. Okay. So Fiola can still stop it.
And it can be Winds of Salvation.
Because it cannot be removed from the game. Let's see. Or return to its owner's hand. Sorry, it can be Winds of Salvation and it can be Winds of Zeus. So
there is interaction there. I still think this is one of the best Moon Children.
I think so. I agree.
Like, I get a safe play.
Or at least a safer play.
It also produces darkness, which is like the best color in the game. So, I'm sorry, second best color. My bad. Anyway,
green and black are back and forth. Extract of the Fire Moon. We have 1 red, 1 black. Produce 2 will in any color combination of red and or black. Draw a card. If your life is 2,000 or less, you may contract this card with Vega. So what if we made rewriting laws in red black and put a J ruler behind it?
So you need the J rule part. You just
this card is the best contract so far.
Yeah.
This card is the best contract because it just replaces itself, right? It just replaces itself.
Free.
Yeah.
Literally rewriting laws melt.
Except like we have things that stop it from being able to produce extra will. So like that's a new thing in the environment. So it's like that kind of card isn't as safe as it has been in the past, but it's still very good. And then we have the flip side is Berserker.
My love for you is like a truck berserker.
So here we go. So this is 8/8 swiftness, first strike, precision bane. If this card would deal damage to a J/resonator your opponent controls, it also deals that much damage to your opponent or its controller instead. So it replaces the damage. Instead of being one packet of damage, it's hitting both things at once. Pay 1 red, recover this card, and 1 black. This card gains eternal until end of turn. Keep in mind that the way this works with Pierce is you can do a lot if you're trying to go at your opponent's thing and they block it. 1 swing will kill 3 things and hit your, or 2 things and hit your opponent in the face, because you'll deal damage to the first thing, kill with first strike, kill it. Excess damage will go through to the second thing, first strike, kill it. But your opponent is taking all of that damage too. Gleipnir says hello. The Gleipnir regalia to force blocks says hello. This card is very good. This card is very good. And we have a lot of good things in black.
I don't know what one guy at Force Wilco was smoking when he was like, print red, recover this card on the 8/8. They did that.
That also produces red when it flips.
Yeah. Like, bro. Like, what? This thing's so sick.
This thing is very, very cool.
This is just like, I'm going to go no thought head empty on this turn. Let me just boom.
We had a conversation. We had a conversation at our locals lately of like red doesn't have like aggro doesn't exist anymore, and I'm like, because aggro either has to be like kill you on turns one, kill you on turn 1 with a combo, or it's too slow to matter. And then they were like, okay, we've heard you. Berserker. Like Berserker is like the epitome of like what non-glass cannon aggro can be in Force of Will, and is really well designed for that purpose, and I really, really like him. I really, really like him. I'm gonna get Paul Clute to come back and play this game, I'm gonna get him interested in Berserker and be like, you can play aggro, Paul, it's okay. Play Berserker. And he's gonna be like, yeah.
Hey, you just gotta look like this. You do that.
It's all good.
This is just Paul Clute when he's like winning an aggro match.
He does, yeah, that's true. Paul Clute when he's winning an aggro matchup. Look at you, Paul Clute.
So I love how Force of Will is like, we're not going to print any more than like 4 effects on a card. But we already made Berserker, so sorry.
Listen,
Well, like-
keywords aren't effects; they're just soup.
See,
You
the
make
thing.
keywords
So the
soup
thing
and
is,
you
to
put
me,
effects
is
on it.
like, but he's like
It's one line of text. It's fine.
he's a J like to me he's a J ruler, and like three of these symbol skills are really just one symbol skill, like lumped in together for the purpose of like how they've designed Berserker, right?
No, I think
Precision, First Strike, Pierce, Bane is practically just defining that this guy wants to swing in for 1600 damage when he flips. Like it's all like because
he will deal 1600 damage.
because that to me is like how this design space, I think, although it's a lot of things, is really just one thing. Like Berserker doesn't have a lot of flexibility. It's just ways to make sure that when you play him, he will deal 1600 damage. Right? Does that make sense? Like that's different from having 3 different abilities that are all doing 3 different things. Like this is just like,
I hear your argument.
yeah, that's fair. You can be devil's
I
advocate.
disagree.
That's fair.
I think maybe the logic is because it's on a J ruler and because you have to fight to get to the card as opposed to like any of these other
Sure.
like resonators that we've seen so far. You actually have to like invest and make sure that it's actually gonna land because you can cancel the extract, and if you don't cancel the extract,
Yeah. Also,
like,
Gradius.
that's the only like rationale I can think of as being like maybe it's okay that this card has like a lot of text
Also, Gradius.
and Gradius exists.
Or give him -20, -20 with the sword card. Like this card's identity to me is deal 1600 damage, and everything about this card just is like I want to make sure that I can deal 1600 damage. Which one track mind for an aggro deck. There you go. Makes sense to me.
That's correct.
Turn things sideways. If Kyron Lucas doesn't show up to a GP playing Berserker, I'm gonna want my money back.
Well, the thing is, Berserker doesn't just say turn things sideways, Jeremy.
He
Calm
also
down.
says turn things back to normal, then turn things sideways again.
Right. You have 90-degree
Two
angle,
times.
the ruler.
that's fair.
The wave.
The wave.
The wave.
The wave.
I'm gonna murder you.
Unga Punga beatdown.
Okay, so next up we have
Bunga
Falcian. Falcian, the solitary scientist, who his moonchild is the green. It's the anti-moonchild, because of course it is. Because that's how green works, is the green ruler always gets the stuff to mess with the other rulers. Although technically the green moonchild isn't locked behind Falcian. You can use it with anybody. So, which is, again, better design than Sealing Scroll. What if we put Sealing Scroll on just one ruler? Everyone's going to play just that ruler. What if we have Child of the Wind Moon and any of them can use it? Okay, cool. That's fine. Like, that's okay. Great. Child of the Wind Moon, blue or green, God's Art Protection of the Wind Moon, cancel target spell that was played without paying any will other than additional costs. So, I don't really know exactly what the without paying any will of additional costs thing, because we've never had a card that's like 0 will, but also will. That's new. But this like would stop a mastery spell, would stop a spell that's been cast for, played for free. This would stop one of the cards. It would stop if you somehow are playing a card for free plus an awakening. This would stop it. This would also stop part of the piece of the knight, because again you're reanimating it and putting it onto the chase without paying its cost. This can cancel one of those. So that's some examples of what it's able to stop. Overall, this is it's not insane by any means, because it's just that one time and it is so niche. And the fact that anyone can ultimately use it. It feels very much like Loki from... it feels very much like Loki's Order side, where it's good if Moon Children are good, but even then, this is weaker than that because it's just once per game. So this is good if...
Maybe the way we say this is it stops free effects with kickers.
Or just free effects. even if it doesn't have a kicker.
So, could it stop a free regalia, like an Excalibur?
Yes.
So there you go.
Stop a regalia. Could stop a Horn of the Sacred Beast. That's relevant.
That is relevant.
We're gonna have printed that's gonna cause this thing to be actually good.
Yeah,
I would also just straight up trade a horn for your God's Art.
yeah, for sure. I would do that all the time.
That'd be fine.
So we have Falcian's contract is grandfather's research project.
Who's Grandpappy?
He was captured by Solaris. One green, one blue. Draw 2 cards. You may put an addition of total cost 1 or less from your hand into the field. If you control 3 or more additions, you may contract this card with Falcian. So keep in mind he will start with 1 because of Cocoon. This spell will get him 1, so he just at one point in time has to play 1 other addition, and then he can start contracting. And so that's pretty okay. It's just draw, then contract. Or draw, cheat an addition, and then contract, which is not insane based on what his contract additions are. And then we have Justice.
Oh, Hierophant Green.
Yeah. So this is a 6/6 with flying who gains Eternal and Barrier as long as he is recovered. Whenever you play a chant, if it was the first chant you played this turn, recover this card. If it's the second chant you played this turn, put 4+1/+1 counters on it. If it was the third chant you played this turn, this card, you can recover up to 2 magic stones you control. If it was the fourth or above, cancel any number of target spells or activate abilities on the chase. Or cancel any number of target spells and or activate and or automatic abilities.
So, Paul, very glad you mentioned Hierophant Green with Emerald Splash, because this card is probably going to see about as much usage as Emerald Splash gets kills in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Wow. Coming out swinging with the green ruler being terrible.
0.
I mean, it'll be very much based on how Falcian is designed. We have a lot of things right now that can kind of be abusable to cast multiple chants per turn, but it also feels like that might kind of be the mechanic, is like we might see that Justice is going to become like a storm ruler where he's trying to like cast as many spells as possible during a turn to kind of set himself
why
up.
does he do stuff with additions to even come out then? It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of mismatch here. I'm not seeing it right now.
Correct.
And obviously we haven't seen
this deck. Lycion.
I'm really glad that Lycion's banned.
Yeah.
There's that.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness that Lycion is banned. This card's cool. This card is a cool idea.
People
It's
are literally going to play it just because it's a common writer. I'm just going to be
I mean,
honest
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Also, like the fact of he of all of the rulers is designed to abuse the moon children calling for stone. Like he is designed to try to flip quickly so that he sits on board and then tap for stone with the moon children while he kind of just like provides support to like the other things you're trying to cast. Like he is it's weird to say that he's like a support J ruler, but that's absolutely what he is he is a support class J ruler until you get late enough in the game where he has a bunch of +1/+1 counters on him. But even then, like he still loses Eternal and Barrier as soon as you go into attack with him. So like, he's the support ruler, which is very weird to say.
Big show and 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 big show.
Hey, you can't prissy a chain anymore. If that's what you want to spend your time doing, you go right ahead.
It's fine. I'll just prissy chain into whatever the best card is, and then I'm just gonna.
You can't prissy a chain anymore.
I'll prissy chain to one card.
You can't prissy a chain anymore. You can prissy into something. You can't prissy a chain anymore.
No, the chain is the one card. We're fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a very short chain.
Yeah, it's a small chain. It's one link.
He is absolutely Robert Greene. He is literally this. Yeah, he literally is. He is the support ruler. He is designed to flip early and then kind of just exist to provide protection for the rest of the game plan, which is very cool. Honestly, it's a very cool like J ruler space to explore.
He protect.
I like it. Yeah, he protect. Don't do much attack, but he certainly protect. And
Once
then
again, I'd say he
we
is
do want to talk
phenomenal.
about this. So we're gonna go. Should we talk about Einsberg first? Yeah, let's talk about Einsberg. Okay, so those
Yeah.
are our partner rulers. Next up, we have Eins, not Einsberg. I apologize. We have Eins, our void ruler. Good old set one of a cluster, having 5 color rulers and then a void ruler. This is Eins. He is ruler Gears. He does not have bond, so he is a partnerless ruler. At the beginning of the turn of your turn, you may reveal a light, fire, water, wind, or darkness Gears card you control from outside the game. That does not share a name with other gears you own, and reveal it until the end of the game. He gains all abilities of all those gears. Homeland's Solaris. At the beginning of the game, you may reveal a Solaris edition you own from outside the game and put it into the field. So, Void Energize has flexibility for what he gets from the gears that are revealed, gaining that additional text. Does not have Moon Children to support him, but gets more and more abilities the bigger the longer the game goes. So that's kind of his kind of gimmick. Quickly to jump into his edition, because he's the first one we've seen an edition for. This is Outer Space. Yep, that's the name. Outer Space.
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 1 drop void, enter, draw a card. Your opponent pays 1 more to do judgment or pay revolution order abilities. Tap, target J/Resonator loses swiftness and flying until end of turn.
I'm going to the one
Already
place.
better.
I'm going to the
Then
one
Ma'at
place that has not been
immediately.
stopped by capitalism. Space.
Feels like something like Sherry on that first ability.
And also, just,
I mean, I guess.
casual Death Scythe on the tap ability.
Um,
Oh.
So, the fact that it slows, the fact that it's pay 1 for more for judgment or revolution, that's the biggest piece. Like,
Hold up.
For free at the start of the game.
if
Guys,
it,
you just get a 6th card for free with all this stupid thing.
I mean, yeah. He also doesn't have partner and has a void energize.
Oh my god.
Let him have a 6th card.
Alright, fine. He's allowed to have a 6th card, I guess.
This is cool. The fact that it disrupts order is very, very cool. Some people are already like, well, against Zeus will just be like burn. You know, if Zeus is on the coin, he'll go like rogue spectator, go get the thing, and then go get Ares to cancel it unless you can pay 1. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna pay 1. That's totally fine. Then I'm gonna go resolve my other trigger, and then I'm gonna call Stone. Well done. You've ordered a thing that can't immediately kill himself to stop a free beginning of the game ability. Good job. Good jorb. This card is, I mean, like, this card is very good for Einsberg. Like, or Eins. It's just very, very, very good. I mean, it's also, like, it's not so good. Like, it doesn't have barrier. It doesn't have, it doesn't have barrier, and it doesn't have eternal, which is great. So that means that, like, there are ways to, like, outplay it or play around it. But, like, what it does is very, very good. Like, immediately better than Ma'at. It feels like what Ma'at was trying to do, but just better. Better designed.
This card has flavor text that makes me realize what's going on.
How they're sealing away the powers of judgment.
They can't judge, but they can just contract. Wow.
I mean,
that's it.
I mean, yeah, we knew that. What a perfect time for him to get disconnected.
You got that turn 1 Ares.
Oh, it wouldn't be in office hours without Mike disconnecting at the perfect time.
Forced me to pay 1 more to fucking have an internet connection, so here I am.
Zeus, you shan't defeat me easily. Eins, try taking a trip to outer space before saying that again. Just
Watch what happens, Zeus, when you're in space.
space. So yeah, this is a cool card. But let's talk about his contract. The only one that's quick cast. This is and it's also the only one that only costs 1.
1 void.
1 void. But it can only be cast off of a Gears ability. So it can't be cast off of a Magic Stone or a Will Coin. This is super important.
Levitine is a fucking spaceship.
The Flight of the Demon Sword. 1 void. Destroy target non-Magic Stone entity. Play this card only if you played its cost with will produced by a Gears entity. If you control in the field and own revealed outside the game a combined total of 7 or more Gears, you may contract this card with Eins.
Keyword for this last set?
What?
Union 7
Union
Gears?
7. There's practically Union 7 Gears without being Union 7.
Just put this into a keyword.
We flip over into Levitin Chrono Gear. A Gears 1717. Enter. You may put any number of Gears you own revealed outside the game that don't share a name into the field. Whenever this card attacks, you may destroy target non-Magic Stone entity. Card good. And also, why is quick cast? So that Eins can, like, flash it at the end of your turn, pop something, get in the mech, go to his turn, and then punch you in the face.
You know what my first one was missing? Fucking Gundams.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was missing.
Get in the robot,
Yes.
Shinji. Get in the robot. Paul, what are your thoughts on Levitin Chrono Gear?
My thoughts are: the year is after Colony 195. Oz has moved upon Earth to try and destroy it, but the Gundam pilots will not let this happen.
It's cool stuff.
That's the narrator from Gundam Wing. It's supposed to be.
This is cool stuff. I like it.
Nice job, Paul.
I like it.
All
As a first
Fucking
introductory,
laser sword, man.
as a first
three-
introduction
two
to all
people
these
in
rulers.
Chat that know that got it, Paul. Don't worry.
Hey-o. As a first,
If y'all don't watch Gundam Wing, watch Gundam Wing and then play this card game.
hey-o.
Cool.
As a first,
Honolulu.
as a first introduction to all these rulers, I like all of them. I think they're very, very fun. I'm excited to play them. They feel unique. None of them feel insane, which is exactly what I wanted out of this cluster. Nothing insane.
Yep.
But
I
there,
feel
you know what
they're
is
all-
insane? Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, I was about to say, all of them seem very fair, which means they're probably not going to see any playing Wanderer just yet.
Unless the October or August combination ban list also really wheels stuff in. We'll see.
Yeah, who knows?
So speaking of insane, though, secret rares be back, and we've just got we're shown them, and so we don't know if the chant side will also be different, but the contract side is this kind of stuff, this comic book approach to the different ones. So it's the 5 rulers. So here's Fairy Tale King. Here is Messiah. Here is End of Night. Here is Berserker. And here is Justice. So these will be, we don't know what the pull rates for these would be. I imagine they will most likely be 1 per case. Very, very cool. These are very, very cool. It's cool to have chase cards back.
I really hope that we have the same artwork on the front side, just so that once you see your opponent contracting something, you don't know which one it's going to be until they flip it
And then
over.
you're like, oh, like the hype of it being one of those secrets.
Yo!
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
These are very, very cool. It's cool to have secret rares back. I mean, they're nothing like super flashy. Like it's not like a full complete alt art like we've seen before. I mean, it's the same character with the same pose. But it is like the artwork is a different style. The card itself has that same kind of like comic book promo feel from like the Book of Light, Book of Dark, which was really, really cool when they did that a long time ago. So yeah, these are very, very cool.
About Persona 5. I wish we had some Persona 5, like just like the whole stylization to it.
Yeah,
like,
these are very, very cool, and I can't wait to try to pull some of these. Also, rip my wallet for trying to get these. But I'll do it. Here we go. I'll get at least one of each so that I can like not play them in the main deck, but then like when I contract, I'll be like, Yeah.
Bam.
This is my one copy. I just want to be able to use it. So yeah, this is very cool stuff. It's cool to see them bring this kind of concept back, and I'm very excited to see what else this
I
set
remember when
brings.
they first did this with Book of Light and Book of Dark. It was a really, really fun and super cool concept. Like the Alchemad over the top of the Book of Dark. Just like, there's a lot you can do with this. I'm glad they're bringing it back, even if it's just like blue,
Yeah,
or green.
I still
on top
like
of
it.
Like,
I
it's
still
so
like
cool.
it. It still looks nice. It's very, very flashy and very, very cool.
Yeah.
Paul, any closing thoughts as we finish up this last round of spoilers?
I am here for Gundam Boy.
Yeah, let's do it.
Also, he's definitely Aristella's brother.
Oh, we knew that.
Definitely.
What?
I think we knew that.
Who said? You tell me that there are twin princes, one who's never been heard from again, and a mysterious character from outer space, and you tell me it might be his brother? Come on now.
Star Wars logic.
I mean, like,
Star Wars logic.
I mean,
All
also,
right,
I'm pretty
okay,
sure.
you're
I'm
right.
pretty sure. I'm pretty sure.
Sex with
Again,
Aristella.
I'm pretty sure it's in the lore. Like, it's in the already published lore that it's
Who
siblings.
reads? I can't.
So anyway,
That's
thank you
what-
guys so much for
that's
watching.
what-
Be sure to go check out Odyssey's website, not only to get signed up for Fowl Fest, but also to get pre-orders in for this new set. They said they were working on it earlier today, so it hopefully is up by the end of this podcast or when you're watching it later this week. Be sure to tune in later this week for a Blue Fox versus Dark Tree feature match from our good friend Paul here. And we'll continue to go forward with spoilers next week. So thank you all so much for watching. And until next time, this is DMO73 plus Mike Rance and Paul Reisman saying, class dismissed. Have a good night, everybody.